Hello and welcome back to XCOM. Last time, hell's been unleashed in Buenos Aries. It's our job to send it back. Let's get started. So, terror missions. They love to pop up when you least expect them, and least of all when you want them. I wasn't honestly too surprised that this popped up when it did. Like, it was getting a little later on in the campaign for the first terror mission to pop up. Unfortunately, if you'll recall, most of our top squad members are currently in the hospital in various states of being dead, so I have to make do with what I have, which includes a couple squaddies and just 3 corporals. That's honestly the least prepared I have ever been for a terror mission in my entire time playing this. Oh god. Poor Drat's still in there for like his second mission. Yeah, these are literally everybody I have who isn't a rookie. I'm not even going to think about trying to get a rookie to upgrade. I need my best soldiers and I need them now. So I'll explain a bit more about terror missions when we get into it, but suffice it to say our objectives have changed dramatically now. And terror missions really up the stakes of what's at risk in terms of failing a mission.
Strike 1. Prepare for landing. We're moving into Argentina next. The threat there seems to be the most pressing. We've gotten reports of alien activity taking place in a densely populated urban center. We should move to secure the area and minimize further civilian casualties.
Yeah, as you can see right there, right under my mouse cursor, XCOM is no longer exactly Black Ops. Like, we are heading in there intensely to save civilians. So this isn't so much going for the meld and then going right for the aliens or clearing up the UFO. No, this is going to be a slow and thorough sweep of the entire area. And excuse the upcoming jump cut, just need to skip past like 30 seconds of loading. Yeah, Bandicam and XCOM do not play well together on this laptop. Hopefully I should have a solution in the coming days. And actually, this isn't a map I've ever played on before, so I was really happy to see a bit of a difference in this one. I have played on highways before, but never quite on this one.
Central, this is Big Sky. Confirm signal uplink. Strike team is in position near the terror site. Awaiting confirmation.
Solid copy, Big Sky. Strike 1 has been given the green light. Your highest priority is to protect those civilians.
Yeah, as you probably heard in the background where Bradford and Big Sky was talking, yeah, things aren't going too well in Argentina right now. Up in the top right, the blue little person, that means how many civilians are left on the map. Green means the ones we've saved. Red means the ones we did not. So while you might be tempted to just sprint forward, try and save as many civilians as you can, unfortunately, due to war being what it is, there are some acceptable casualties. So I'm not going to just sprint forward, especially because terror missions are... The aliens are crazy aggressive in these. Like, I don't know if the AI has actually changed, but I would swear that any aliens in terror missions are a lot more aggressive than they would usually be. So right now my goal is just to try and get as much sight on as I can and try and distract the aliens, because our soldiers are no longer the prime target for the aliens. They will go after the civilians, and all the civilians, you can see that one up there and by the green car. I'll try and point him out the next time my camera goes over there. Yeah, there he is. Oh, and there they are. So you can probably see the little people just around. Like, I have to get up close to them and basically just sort of end my turn there, so they will run back to the Sky Ranger and be saved. And the aliens will go after them, and they only have 1 HP. And as far as I know, they can't dodge it at all. Neither can that floater, apparently. Jalal is amazing on clutch. Like, how many times has he actually killed something on only 50% chance to hit it? Yeah, he's definitely going into the A-team after this. So, 1 floater left, and as I said, those civilians are in danger for as long as they're on the map, and the aliens are quite happy to go after them. They're even happy to go after the civilians if you haven't awakened the aliens, and I'll be getting to that in about in a few more minutes. But yeah, while I did say that holding back is okay in terms of acceptable casualties, too many, and the terror mission can and will backfire on you. So right now, gonna get as forward as I can, and hopefully the floater wants me more than it wants the civilians.
They're falling back.
Well, it didn't kill anything, so that's a start. In fact, nothing died. I think, and don't quote me on this, I think that terror missions are scripted so that a civilian can't die on the first alien activity turn, but I'm not entirely sure, and of course XCOM is, well, what it is. And as you saw, the little blue circles, similar to the taser one and the one for healing, if you end a soldier's movement in there, they will talk to the civilian.
Orders confirmed. On the move. You're clear. Go!
Yep, and that civilian has now despawned, so fortunately there's no chance he'll be hit, obviously. And that is the crappiest chance to hit with a shotgun I've ever seen. However, this lets me show off squad sight. While Cecilin can't see that floater, the assault I sent up can, and because he actually has a clear line of sight, even though he can't himself see it, the squaddy is acting as a spotter, and he gets it. And that's why squad sight is pretty much the best ability in the entire game. And as soon as you get a sniper up to corporal, they can hang back a lot farther, and so long as it's a relatively open area, they can basically just peg off enemies all day. Of course, as you may have noticed, they have no chance at all to hit for a critical unless you use headshots, so, you know, pros and cons. But it's still way better than a snapshot by a country mile. So, first two aliens down. So far, so good. At least one civilian back in the Sky Ranger, which is very good, because if you lose all the civilians, horrible, horrible things happen. If I remember rightly, and I will link the UFO wiki article on terror missions in the thread. If you lose all civilians, I'm pretty sure the country in which the terror mission is happening just straight up leaves the council right off the bat, which is weird because it's only 18 civilians, but I guess those were like, I don't know, the entirety of their government. Yeah, that was civilians being killed off screen, and I'm just going to speed this up a little bit because, spoiler warning, the rest of the aliens are on that bit of highway that's perpendicular to the highway that my squaddies are currently on, so I'm just going to speed it up a bit until we get up there and the action actually kicks off, because, yeah, it turns out it decided to front load me with a couple floaters and then leave everything else way back there. And there's not a whole lot I can do to sort of cut across, because highways, I really like highways because it's almost like a funneled corridor forward, and you just like leapfrogging over and over again. And I'm not sure why I like it so much. I think I just like it insofar as you really have to think, because you're going to run into all the aliens sooner or later. Like, you can't try and suss out where they are and try and flank around them. Like, you're going to run straight into them. Like, you're going to be ambushed over and over and over again. And I think that's why I like it, because it just adds that extra layer of challenge, especially when your squad is completely badass near the end of the game. It just helps to keep the challenge a bit more fresh. And as I said, like, they're over there. And every time the camera pans over, yeah, another civilian has been lost. We're up to 3 lost so far. And yeah, that's pretty much par for the course. Now, you might have noticed that I decided not to save that one civilian that's up there by the police car. The thing is, as far as I know, you are meant to kill all the aliens here. And if you do kill all the aliens, even without saving all the civilians, the rest of them are just considered as saved. So in general, if any civilian is behind sort of your front lines, and you can just consider them saved and you don't have to waste time on it. Like, I very rarely have had to save more than like maybe 5 or 6 civilians, and generally I just try and go for the aliens, because one more dead alien is one less alien that's shooting at the civilians. So as you can see, I'm just trying to get my soldiers into some semblance of a firing line across this new section of highway, just trying to be sure that nothing slips by in the fog of war and starts chewing on the civilians behind me. So far so good. Turn it over to the aliens. And another civilian lost. Oh, this is starting to get a little bit out of hand, isn't it? Well, hopefully he wasn't anybody important. He was the government's janitor or something. So we'll just pop forward a little bit. Unfortunately, with the 2 assaults, I really have to get them in close to the fray. Jalal is there, and he does have the spreader, so he can move a little bit further, and he does spot the second group of floaters, so that's good. Hopefully they'll start taking pot shots at me rather than the civilians. And naturally, they both sprint back into full cover. I do have Thomas there, and she does have an unused rocket, so we'll see what we can do about that, because nobody else really has a shot, and Jalal, considering they're in full cover, he wouldn't be able to hit shit anyway.
Aye, aye, Commander.
Fortunately, there's a lot of cover in between me and them, so shouldn't have to worry too much about my soldiers getting thrown back into the med bay with all 80 billion of their buddies. And by moving the rocket's flying trajectory up a bit, I will be able to get the floater on the right. I would lose out on 2 weapon fragments, but I think at this point, let's take out what we can before it decides that it likes the civilians more than me. Direct hit and a promotion, alright. Now, in terms of what Jalal can do, like Cecil, unfortunately, he's too far back there for squad sight, and for the, he doesn't have line of sight, so I decided to move him forward to try and save that civilian. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the game doesn't even recognize that he's in the circle, even though he clearly was, so that civilian's going to be hanging out there for a little while. And both my shotgunners obviously wouldn't have a shot, and even if they did, they'd be more likely to hit Mars than they would that floater. And 33% chance to hit. Jalal might be clutch, but not that clutch. So instead I just elect to try and smoke him and the civilian and try and defend against any shots that might come in. Now, again, I don't know if this is going to help with civilians. Like, as I said, as far as I know, civilians cannot dodge any sort of alien attack against them, so it might have been useless, but well, we'll see what happens. Oh no.
Any hope we had of establishing a clear pattern of behavior among the alien species. This specimen is nothing like the others.
Seems like they've got one of everything.
Target's still up.
Damn it!
Yeah. If you've ever played XCOM before, then you should damn well recognize the chrysalids, the poster child for the Terra missions. The most health we have ever seen on an alien, the most range we've ever seen on an alien. They might be melee attackers only, but that doesn't make them any less deadly. I have seen these guys take out squaddies in one hit before, easy. Now, as I said, as they are melee attackers and they only have the 2 action points, they would have to, if they have to run forward twice, and even if they get up really close and kiss a soldier, they're not going to be able to attack him, but oh, this was not what I wanted to see when one floater was still alive, especially since the other chrysalid fucked off to God knows where. Now, they do have a little trick up their sleeve. We won't see it this mission, and I'll leave that as a surprise for when we see them again. And believe me, we are going to be seeing these things pretty much into the end of the game. And I do ask you refrain from spoiling what it is they can do, because I like to leave that little tidbit as a surprise. Fortunately, this one decided to be a little bit of an idiot and just hard charge. They are pretty much just mindless insects. They will never use cover. In fact, I don't believe they actually can use any form of cover. And they will just sprint right up to your soldiers, even if the soldier's wielding like the top tier of a shotgun. So for this guy, I just elect to take him out with both my shotgunners, because Jalal has the assault rifle and he can shoot from a further distance. Assaults are pretty much a hard counter to the chrysalids, although nothing is quite as bowel emptying as getting your assault to unload in its face and watching it still be alive with just 1 HP. So, half my chrysalid problem dealt with. Jalal, not really the best shot on that floater as of yet, so instead I like to overwatch him. Yeah, that was a hit from a chrysalid. That's kind of in the low to mid range of how they can hit for. And Jalal pulls off the clutch again. So he actually had a better chance to hit on the overwatch because the floater had to jump out of high cover in order to try and get forward and hit at a civilian or one of my soldiers. So right now the only thing left is that chrysalid, but because they're so mobile, I am terrified that it's just going to start running around back there and start whacking civilians one by one. And generally they will spawn in groups of 3, not 2, but almost always they spawn in groups of 3, and I've seen them take out 3 civilians in one turn, no problem.
Heading to that location.
Yeah, I hate these things in case you haven't gotten that message yet. Also, the civilian decides to glitch out a bit and just continue to watch the show next to the burning oil tanker. So, fortunately, I do know where that other chrysalid is. It is standing over the corpse of its latest victim. Cecilin, unfortunately, still doesn't have a shot, and this actually surprised me. I thought for sure he'd have the shot on it, so I just like to put him in Overwatch just in case he decides to sprint forward for a high five. So Jalal does just get enough elevation to have a shot on it, and again, it is not in cover, so it won't be that hard to hit. But the question is doing 8 damage with just 2 attacks with kinetic weapons. Like, really, at this point, I should have had lasers or something better than just Kevlar armor. But well, we'll see what we can do. Now, it's a good start, max damage, so Jalal has pretty much 50% chance to kill it if he hits it, and of course he hits it. He's him.
Bye-bye.
And game glitches out a little bit, and that's all she wrote. I think the cutoff for excellent rank on civilians saved is 15 out of 18. Now, honestly, while terror missions are very stressful and extremely difficult, they are actually very helpful in terms of panic, because I've seen them take countries at 5 panic and put them all the way down to 1, and that's across the entire continent as well, when I got a triple excellent on a terror mission. So really, if you're struggling with panic, a terror mission popping up on a high panic continent worth more than any amount of satellites ever could be. I gotta say, I'm damn proud of the B team for pulling this off. I'm definitely going to be pumping a few of them up.
Casualty among the entire squad. That takes a solid effort.
Alright, Cecilin, he's the second of our named soldiers, if I recall correctly, to get a nickname. Cecilin, your nickname is Omega. If you want that changed, just let me know. And also our assault reaches sergeant rank, and as does Jalal, and they both get their nicknames as well. So yeah, definitely a few soldiers that are going to be added into the general rotation. Cecilin, I'm really happy with how well your soldier has been doing, especially because poor Skyder is in the hospital and now 2 ranks below you. Sergeant Sniper's first one. The first ability is Gunslinger, just +2 damage to pistols, not too bad. Especially if you find that you don't have Snapshot like any sane person. Damn good ground, way better. +10 aim and defense against anything at a lower elevation, and if you're using your snipers right, you should damn well have them higher up. Also, that is the lowest amount of kills I've ever seen in a Sergeant S3, and yeah, just Shredder Rocket. More boom, please. Thank you. And our first Sergeant Support, Field Medic, 2 extra uses of the medkit, and Smoke and Mirrors, +2 uses of the smoke grenades. Yeah, that's another no-brainer. Although, in general, as you go forward, you'll find that you're using your medkits less and less, but right now, I think tripling up on the amount of heals that Jalal can do is really going to be a good idea. Alright, new autopsy, a few weapon fragments. Chrysalids never drop weapon fragments, they are melee attackers, as I said. And as you can see there, panic has decreased across South America. Now, as I promised Amp, I will be naming a soldier after him, so give us just a second here, and don't pay attention to that crappy name, I will be changing it, but I do hope you like your soldier. Just let me know if you want me to change anything about his appearance. I just thought it was really funny to have the designated field medic be the scariest looking motherfucker on the entire squad. So most of our soldiers should be out of the medbay pretty soon. And excuse that jump cut there, there's a bit of a glitch with my recording software. And I also remember, oh yeah, I have a shitload of medals, and so I decide our first person to be awarded a medal will be Amp. Congratulations. The reason I decided to give you the medal is because your soldier pulled off amazing trick shots in that terror mission, and quite frankly, I could not have done it without him. And there, I'm just renaming it into something a little more less stupid. Just again, let me know if you want me to change anything about him. Like I don't mind. So again, that medal will give him a +5 defense, and as a support, he will be somewhat close to the fight.
Get out there and even up the body count.
Oh, quiet in the peanut gallery, for fuck's sake. So terror is looking a lot better in South America. As you can see, they're both down to just 1. North America still a little freaked out. Europe also not doing so hot either. But well, we'll see what we can do. We have a crap load of satellites that are coming out pretty soon. But for now, I think it prudent to start moving all this research forward. And a request that we can actually fill. Argentina wants 3 arc throwers. We have 1 arc thrower, and they can have it. They cannot have it. It is mine.
Your suspicions may have been true after all. They're not just here for abductions. They have something else in mind.
So $15 to make an arc thrower, and they are willing to give us $105, which is borderline double. So really, let's just sell off a flight computer, make a few arc throwers, and fire them off. You know, you'd think Argentina, of all places, would be having crazy amounts of riots after the terror mission, but, you know, what do I know? So fortunately, this is something we can make immediately, and generally these kind of requests for immediate things are going to be your bread and butter. And that's a lot more money that I desperately need. Question then becomes what we're going to spend it on, and I elect a little bit more building, a little more ant farm management. So what I like to build under that workshop for the adjacency bonus is the foundry, because I think it's damn well time we start getting some upgrades around here. 6 days to build it, that's going to take a little while. And I am going to be building the cyber lab very soon. In fact, the reason I'm selling off a couple of corpses here is because that... I'll show you in just a second here. Yeah, the one I'm excavating right there, that's going to be the cybernetics lab, and a thermal generator will go above it. So I do have most of my stuff planned out. Probably going to put other satellite uplinks and whatnot on the left side of the access lifts. So let's see if we can finally get that flippin' autopsy done. Thank the Lord. And again, I'll just leave this up for a few seconds so you can read it. A few new items for manufacture. We'll get to that in just a moment. Yeah, a lot of text this time. Alright, let's see what new toys I cooked up for us. The respirator implant. This gives a few bonus HP just like the nanofiber weave. In addition, makes the soldier immune to both strangulation by seekers and thin men poison. The ghost grenade is similar to the mimetic skin, but basically it will conceal your soldiers completely unless they decide to attack. So it's basically sort of like a personal cloaking field. And the mimetic skin, I will be doing a full write-up on the gene mods that we have once the genetic lab is built in a few days here, as I believe I mentioned before. Now the question is, there's a few more autopsies we can get done quickly, but at this point, I think my main concern is either getting better armor for the carapace armor or getting better weapons through the beam weapons. And in this case, I will like to go for the beam weapons because with the chrysalids starting to come along, it means the real nasty crap's not too far behind. And I think a little bit more damage never hurt anybody.
Why use such advanced technology against innocent civilians?
Well, actually, more damage will hurt somebody. Hopefully it's not somebody's. Moving swiftly onwards. Satellite done.
Our satellite is prepped and standing by for launch.
Yeah.
On your orders.
Okay, so nothing much else going on. Just waiting for the research to finish. And the foundry. So in addition to upgrades, this basically lets you build various types of experimental weaponry, and we will be using this thing heavily. And it looks like most of my soldiers are finally back to active duty. I know for a fact Drydelin finally is, so look forward to seeing him again. And now with rapid recovery, if anybody gets shot again, well, they'll only be in the hospital for about half the time, because, you know, budget cuts and everything. Ah, fuck.
Commander, we're receiving several urgent requests for assistance. There are abductions in progress at each marked site on the hologlobe.
Yeah, you think we could afford a second Sky Ranger by now. Anyway, the US, Germany, and Nigeria are all not doing too well, and at this point I'm starting to think really in terms of not so much what I'll get for reward as to why I'll go to a certain country for an abduction mission, but more along the lines of panic. Now, while North America is not doing so well and the US will panic if I do not go there, I realize Canada and Mexico are only 3 out of 5. If I don't go to the US will be 5 out of 5, but Canada and Mexico will only be 4 out of 5. Whereas if I don't go to Germany, Germany will increase by 2, go to 5 out of 5, and France will also increase by 1 to 5 out of 5. And so, for that reason, I will elect to be going to Germany, also because I desperately need more scientists. Like, the money's nice, but the council report is so close, and I'll have so many more satellites for the money that really, I need scientists if I want those beam weapons to be done anytime this century. So I'll see you guys next time as we head into Germany.